And our third quickest qualifier is A.J. Allmendinger, and he drives the number 47 Scott Products Chevrolet. A.J., congratulations on a good effort here this afternoon. Just talk about the qualifying, how it went for you, and your outlook for tomorrow's race.
I mean, it's. I don't know, Jimmy. What do you say about this qualifying?
I thought I missed the opportunity in the draft and wasn't going to be any good. And it was.
It's strange. Honestly, I mean, I'm not sure if it's exciting or really what it is. You know, the whole goal is you just try to be the guy that times it right at the back so you can get the big run. And if you get the big run, you're lucky. If you don't, you don't. I mean, it's really strange. You know, it's really about luck. You hope you get the right gap and the right time. You know, in the first group, I think I crossed the line with 2 seconds to go, and everybody else behind me didn't make it. So it's just it's strange. It's a weird format. I'm not sure it's any better than single car qualifying. It's hard to say, but you know, I mean, it is what it is. You got to try to make your plan for what works out. I thought I had a shot at pole. Came to the line, I thought, with the right amount of gap, but we kind of got held up as we went through two and allowed Brian to get a run on me and close the gap. So, you know, we'll just try to avoid the big one tomorrow and hopefully get a good finish.
Okay, and Jimmy, our second fastest qualifier, driver, the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. Jimmy, you'll be out front tomorrow. That's kind of, I think, certainly what was the goal coming out of today's qualifying, but just talk about your qualifying effort and your outlook for tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. You know, thrilled with the results, although it was confusing. I wasn't sure that it was going to be any better than 11th or 12th, and I ended up second. So there's just a lot of jockeying going on those 2 laps and trying to set up your run and against the clock and confusion, you know, inside of my car, how many laps were left, where the clock was. I didn't see the lights. My spotter's spotting a group of cars going by. Chad's trying to give me info. And finally they stopped talking, and I got in the gas off of 4, and I realized I still had another lap to go and was able to pull back up to the group of cars in front of me somehow and ended up second. So it was, you know, as AJ was hitting on, just bizarre, different. If it is exciting and the fans do enjoy it and viewership on television was up, then you know, I think we're all willing to go out there and roll the dice each time for this. But you know, inside the car, it was just a totally different experience. But pit road pick's very important, I think, because we'll do lots of fuel only, lots of 2-tire stops, and it's easy to get in harm's way here, leaving your pit box as others are coming in. So I'm happy about that. And having track position is great to start the race. It's just not that easy to hang on to it here. But we'll start up there and see what we can do.
Okay, we'll take some questions for AJ or Jimmy. Tom and then Kenny.
Hi, guys. Congratulations. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. For both of you, how should we qualify here?
You know, I kind of agree with what Jimmy said. You know, I mean, if the fans like it and it gets more viewers on TV and, you know, all of our sponsors get more recognition on a Friday or Saturday whenever we do this, then to me it is worth it. You know, if not, then to me there's no reason to go out there and take another chance to wreck a race car. So I guess that would kind of be up to what TV and what radio and you know, what kind of viewership we actually get for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, you could actually turn it into a race. I know there were a few guys bumped out that are kind of a surprise that you would expect the 17 to be out or the 51. You know, so maybe a race like you have in Daytona for the 500 would be more fair. But at the same time, I mean, what the competitors want versus everybody else is usually different, as we all know. And the best way to go about it from a competition side is the single car runs, fastest cars on the pole and, you know, on down through the field. So it's that fine balance that I think we're trying to find in today's world of balancing eyeballs watching versus, you know, what competition is in the garage here and what the garage wants to see.
Kenny Bruce and then Lee.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. For either one of you guys or both of you, I obviously don't know enough about this qualifying to explain it or understand it or anything. 5 minutes left or 5 minutes in a round, what are you guys waiting on? Why, when the clock starts and they say Track's green. Why are teams not heading out on the track?
I mean, to me, you're just waiting on the first guy that gets an itchy trigger finger and decides to go because he's going to run out of time. I mean, you don't want to be the first car out there. I mean, just because you're going to be the slowest car. I mean, if you're the first one out there, the pack's going to run you down, and the whole goal is to really wait is you want to be one of the lead cars in the second group that gets to pull everybody. You get that big run and try to time it. That's the whole goal. So, I mean, I think you all saw it. It's that kind of split up between, do we go and we make sure we get a lap in, or do we try to play it to the last second and hopefully we get that big run, and because everybody else went before us. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a numbers game. The more cars in front of you, the faster you go. The guy at the back's going to be the fastest one. What was interesting in that final session is we're singing along, and I was fortunate to be the last car on the track, essentially. And the groups ahead of us checked up, then our group checked up. And at that point, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how much time was left on the clock, how many laps we were going to complete. It really scrambled things then. So then it turned into a bit more of a cat and mouse game. But strategy-wise, the more cars in front of you, the faster you go.
Lee, and then Chris.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Jimmie, you had teammates out there the first segment, but what happened? Did you guys not have a game plan that you wanted to try to work together, or was it, as you had said earlier, every man for himself, or didn't you think that you would be better off with a draft from your teammates than going out there alone?
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22 for the bigger teams, because if all 400 cars sat there in a line, everybody would be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to get in behind these guys. And then we're pulling that whole train, and everybody behind us is faster. So we felt as a group we were better off kind of doing our own thing and not being such an easy target. It looked like the RCR guys had a plan, and I picked up on that and jumped on their train with them and thanked them greatly for it. So, that's really what it boils down to, is we felt that we would be better off independently trying to put ourselves in position as one of the last cars to take, to start your lap before the flags fall. And Gordon was playing the waiting game in the first one and missed it. Junior unfortunately had a bunch. He went to the end of pit road and a bunch of cars stacked up behind him. And I just don't think. What's that? Oh, they did? Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, you need a lot of radio conversation today to kind of figure out what was going on.
Yeah. Chris, I think you had a question.
ChrisMikeCatchfence.com for AJ and Jimmie. The new qualifying format sent two full-time teams home, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Justin Allgaier. Is this new qualifying format fair to those guys?
I don't know. I mean, it's I guess racing's not really fair most of the time. Unless you're Jimmie, you win all this time. So, I mean, other than that, no.
On the last few months.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's right or wrong. I mean, it's the format that we race in. It's the format that you have to qualify in, So, I mean, heck, I missed, I think, at least 9 or 10 races my first year on the past champions provisional. So, I didn't think it was fair. Something that was happening in 1988 was affecting my life in 2007. So, it is what it is. It's the rules you live by, and everybody's got the same opportunity to go out there and get a lap in and time it right. So, it's not like, Jimmie or somebody else had a better opportunity than anybody else. So, I mean, it's just the way it is. It's surprising because I was shocked. I asked even on the radio, I was like, are those the 3 guys going home? So, I mean, it's a little bit shocking, but it's not always fair.
I agree 100%. You nailed it. Racing isn't fair. It's not always fair. I'm shocked. If I was them, I would be upset, but we all knew what the rules were coming into it and what could happen.
Other questions? Jenna and then Stan. Get the mic over here, Sam.
I was going to say, we see you're never quiet, Jenna. We can hear you.
Ever. Jenna Fryer, AP. Why not just the 23 in your group just line up and go in one single file line?
Because who's going to lead it?
Who's
rock, paper, scissors to lead it?
Wouldn't that whole group, wouldn't all 23 be faster than the other 23 that didn't do that?
Oh, you mean in the first group?
Or if the second group did.
Yeah.
Do you really think 23 drivers can get on the same page? That's the bottom line.
It still comes down to who's going to pick the short straw and lead it.
Yeah, somebody's going to
happen.
fall on the sword. The
Yeah.
first 3 to 5 cars are going to be the slowest ones, and nobody wants to be there. Looking back right now, you could say, yeah, an elapsed time of 23 cars in a draft would have probably worked out, or at least probably 15 or 16 would have transferred. But that's the thing. Nobody. One, we can't get organized, and two, you don't know how it's going to play out. But theoretically, yes, you're right. You're on the right page. We just can't get on the same page. Of course,
Usually. Yeah.
Then we blame somebody below us, and it usually trickles all the way down to the tire guy.
Yeah.
And it's always the tire guy's fault.
Stan and
Is
then
that why
Reed.
my tire guy's so angry all the time?
That's it.
Oh.
Whatever that stuff is runs downhill,
Yeah.
and he's at the bottom.
Stan Creekmore with Competition Plus. Jimmie, normally you only have 2 good laps out here based on the way you all set up for qualifying. You made 3. How close were you to just even losing the engine based on the effort?
With the draft, and I'm sure you want to run as much tape as you can, but everybody was pretty open with the grill tape to to be in the draft and to run multiple laps, come down pit road if you need to, leave the car running in case everybody took off in front of you, stuff like that. So, I mean, the car was hot for sure, but it wasn't in a bad situation.
Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Jimmie, after the first 2 sessions, while they were still trying to figure out if the 22 and the 17 or 22 and 18 had made it to the line in time, did you think you were out for a while there?
When there was maybe a minute 30 to go, and the guys weren't at speed, and where they were, I think, going into turns 1 and 2, and the way the whole thing was playing out, it might have even been a little less time than that. I started putting my helmet and Hans device on. I really felt like they weren't going to get a fast lap in, and I climbed in the car. I was climbing in the car when the session ended, so I felt like I had a chance at least.
Go ahead. Any other questions? All right, AJ, Jimmie, good luck tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you.